different districts, they do different sample papers. So we just chose one of the districts and then we're just doing the memorandum for that. However, those districts which have the same paper, meaning that is similar scope, you'll find similar questions in your exam. So the first question, which one of the following, which organic compound is important for the growth and maintaining of healthy body? So we are looking for something which makes there is proper growth and maintaining a body which is healthy. So we call that vitamins or vitamins. So we have that. We get 2 marks there. What is nucleic acid? Nucleic acids, we are talking about DNA and RNA. Yeah, so those are the nucleic acids. So you're saying that which is not, the question is not a function of wetland, meaning that the rest are functions. If you look at them, all of them are functions except one. Wetlands provides habitat and breeding grounds. Yes, we know that is correct. During drought, wetlands keep rivers and streams flowing, correct? Wetlands are source of nitrates. No. And then wetlands filter and clean water. Yes, this is also correct. So the most correct answer here is C, because they're saying it's not. So you get 2 marks there. Saying that carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor are gases in which part of the biosphere? They're saying that carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor are gases found in which part of the biosphere? In which part of the biosphere? So we are looking at, we said carbon dioxide. So it's a gas. So the answer is atmosphere, because they're looking at gas, which means atmosphere. So lithosphere, hydrosphere, and geosphere. So here they're looking at air, which means what? Atmosphere, because carbon dioxide is air, oxygen is air, hydrogen is air, is a gas, and then vapor is also gas. So the most correct answer there is A. Use the image below and answer the question this to that. Okay. Which biotic factor is illustrated in the diagram above? This is the sun. Since it is the sun, showing the direction of the sun, so the answer is aspect. Aspect. Yes. The relation, an area. How is an area related to the direction of the sun? Yes, we call it what? Aspect. How much sun does it receive in a day? So it means that this one, it receives, well, this side it doesn't receive enough. So the answer is the aspect, which is C. So you get 2 marks there. Remember, these are called the physiographic factors, of which you have the slope, you have the altitude, yes, and then you have the aspect. Yes, so you have the slope, you have the altitude, and you have the aspect. So the most correct answer here, it is C. So you get 2 marks there. And they're saying that which one of the following, which 2 factors are true about the phenomenon demonstrated by the diagram above? Let me see. Okay. Water runoff. North-facing slope has more direct sun. Yes, north-facing slope. Okay, yes, okay. Looks to be correct. north-facing slope, because they're saying it's the north-facing slope, this is south-facing slope. So this side, they have more direct sunlight. So it looks more visible. This one is out because I've taken the upper one. South-facing slope will be dominated by shade-loving plants. Yes, because it receives less what? Yes, one. The slope. It receives less what? Less light. So it means that it requires more plants which require shady areas. Okay. Fourth, dominated by shade. So this is the opposite of the, so it's become, so it means that the answer is 1 and no, it's 2 and 4. So we have to look for that 2 and 4, which is A. So A becomes the most correct answer. 1.6, which one, which is correct climatic factor that is responsible for season? They're saying that which one is the most correct factor that is responsible for season? Altitude, water cycle, carbon dioxide, the oxygen cycle, it is latitude. Basically, because they're talking about season, so the answer becomes latitude. Why? Because if you have the maybe the Earth, yes, if the sun is passing here, meaning that this one is gonna have more heat, the days, the time of night and time of day, it's the same. But now this one, when it goes to either Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn, for example, when it comes here, meaning that now this area is going to be too far from the sun. Therefore, it's going to have short days and long nights. And then this one is going to have long days and short nights. And then when it comes to the lower one, then it means that now this one, area A, B, C. Area A is going to be far because now the sun is here. Sun is here. So it's going to be too far from the what? From area A. Therefore, it's going to have long nights, and then it's going to have short days. But when it's in the middle, it's going to be almost the same. Basically, in the equator, it's going to be almost the same. So it is the latitude which brings about the climatic factor for seasons. Then organisms that is eukaryotic will not be classified into kingdom, will not be classified in kingdom eukaryotes. So it means that eukaryotes will not be classified in which kingdom? Protistas can have yeah, they can have, they have a true nucleus. Monera, these are the bacteria, and bacteria, remember, they are prokaryotes. So it means that it is Monera which is not going to be classified. So you get 2 marks in there. It must be Monera. Fungi, they have true nucleus. Animalia, they also have true nucleus. They're saying that animal that hibernate or migrate during winter month or estivate during the heat, the day, are all influenced by abiotic factors. Abiotic factor. So which abiotic factor is that? So basically, this is what you call temperature. Yes, they hibernate because of the cold, or they undergo starvation because of what? The too much heat. They put their tongue outside like dogs. Yes. So that's what we mean with that. So it's basically temperature. So it gets 2 marks there. Which characteristics are capable of water? Act as solvent, solution of energy. Which characteristic are applicable to water? They're saying that act as solvent. Okay, it's correct. And then they're saying that source of energy, no, not water. provides fluid medium in which all chemical reaction takes place, correct. And organ is not organic. So it's basically 1 and 3. So I'm have to look for 1 and 3, which is B. So B becomes the most correct answer. So basically there are 9 marks, 9 points times 2, which gives me 18. Then we go to the terminology. The fossil that have characteristics of both ancestor and the descent. We say that is called transition. Transition. We call it transitional fossil. You can say transitional fossil. Fossil, yes. Part of the earth in which organisms are found. How do you call that? We call it biosphere. Yes. Organisms that do not have true nucleus. So we call it prokaryotes or prokaryotic organism. Prokaryotes. Universal language used to classify organism. How do you call that language? It's Latin. Remember, we do it in Latin. Hierarchy level in ecosystem that show the position of an organism in the food chain. We call it trophic level. Yes. Biological kingdom consists of organisms that are photosynthetic. How do you call that? So it's kingdom plante. Yeah, kingdom plante. An organism that can only be found in one locality and nowhere else in the world. We call it endemic. Yes, endemic. So basically that is it. So there are 7 points, so you get 1 mark each. Yes, 1 mark each. So those are 7 marks. Then we go to the next question. To here, when they say A only, you must write A only. B only, must write B only. A and B like that. So make sure that both, you write both A and B or none. So it must follow that procedure. The study is called, the study of fossil is called, how do you call this? Is C? It's called what? How do you call the study of fossil? Paleontologists. The study of fossil is called paleontology. The paleontologist is the person who studies fossils. So the answer becomes none. They're saying that nutrient recycling is essential as nutrients. Essential as nutrients. As nutrients do what? Nutrient recycling is essential, yes, as nutrients become depleted. Nutrient recycling essential as nutrients become depleted, okay? That insufficient would result in plants and animals suffering from deficiency diseases. Nutrient recycling essential as nutrients. Yes, nutrients become depleted. This is correct. And is essential as nutrients that are insufficient would result in a plant or animal suffering from the deficiency disease. Yes, it's also correct. If you don't have a specific nutrient, you might suffer from a deficiency. That's why we prefer to do nutrient recycling. So that's both A and B. Then you're saying that a food web is better than food chain because of what? Because animals rely on more than one type of food. Yes, obviously. How many types of food do you eat when? It is more realistic representation. It's more realistic representation. It's also correct. It shows basically how energy is being transferred from one individual to another. So it becomes both A and B. So remember, these are 3 points. So 3 times 2, so it gives me 6 marks. Yeah, based on our prediction, we saw that the prediction was on point. Yes, we have talked about almost each and everything which they brought in that paper. And thank for those people who studied our prediction before they went to the paper. Yes. All right. So we start with the identify the biome labeled A, B, E. So A is called savanna. Savanna. Yes, it's called savanna. And then biome, biome B. Where's biome B? Oh, this is called succulent Karo because it is coming from that side, Namakaro. Yes, succulent Karo. So this is it. Succulent Karo. Yes, succulent is juicy. And then they're saying that part E, part E is here. So this is called fine boss. It's called fine boss. So they're saying that state one biotic factor and one abiotic factor used in classifying these biomes. So basically, we use, what do we use? We use climate, we use soil, which we call the edaphic factors. So that is abiotic factors. So climate could be temperatures, or those are abiotic factors. And then the abiotic factors we use specifically the vegetation. We can use the vegetation, we can use the animals, the organisms which are found there, the animals. So we can talk about here soil factors, the pH, the texture, which we call the edaphic factors. And then we can talk about biotic factors. We can use the plants and animals. Which animals are found in that specific what area, which constitutes that specific biome. From the table, which biome represents the biodiversity hotspot? Biodiversity hotspot. From the table, number of species, biodiversity, meaning that it has too many species. So it means that it's fine boss. So the answer there is fine boss. The smallest biome in South Africa, smallest biome. So we see that the by percentage is this. So it is forest. So it's forest there. The largest biome in South Africa. So we look at which one has the biggest land space. So in this case, it's gonna be savanna. Yes, so savanna here, and then you get 2 marks just to confirm that savanna because of the large big mass here. Mass by land, we said fine boss because of the so many species. We said forest because it has the smallest land mass or area. Then you're saying that using the map, which biome A to F represents the description below. Dominant, they're saying dominant species, grass, herd animals. Which biome is that? So dominant species, which is grass, so it is biome D. Yes, and then they are saying that dominated by dwarf shrubs, reptiles, and rodents. So where do we find rodents? We usually find rodents in here, in this biome. So now I think there you get those marks. And then, yes. So we go to the next question, study diagram below and answer the question that follows. Name the land mass of all 3 continents before they were able to split. So we call it, we call it Gondwana. Gondwana or Gondwana land. It's Gondwana land. Gondwana or Gondwana land, whatever. Name the process that results in the formation. Remember, it was one big mass. Yes, and after that, it split. Yes, it was one big mass, and then that one big mass, it split into sections. Name the process that resulted into the formation of this of these continents to shift. So we call it continental rift. So it's continental. Yes, continental drift. Yes. They're saying that how did the climate change after the process that took place? Basically, the temperature, what happened? The temperature decreased. Temperature decreased. Yes. They're saying that refer to the plant species indicated in the map. How many species are indicated? So we need to know how many species are indicated. We have the South African or boa, and then the Australia one. We see only two. So basically, it's two species which are indicated. Now, what is the scientific study of distribution of organisms in three different called? How do you call that? We call it biogeography. Biogeography. Yes, the distribution, geography, different areas and life. Yes, so basically we call it biogeography. Then they're saying that refer to the map of the location and the plant species. What does the evidence suggest about the history? So if you look at them, it shows that there these species were once, or there was once one land mass, and that had to split up. Yes, if you check that this one is fixing in here, and then this one is able to fit here. This one is you see that there were once one land mass. You see that it can fit itself inside, and then after that it split and went into different areas. That's why we are saying here that we refer to the map of the location of the plant species. What does this evidence suggest about? So you will see that it is there once one what it was one mass. If it did not, it was one mass before the splitting happened. So basically that is section A, and we see that the section A we were able to get 50 marks. We were able to get 50 marks. So 50 marks. Then when you go to section B, you have to read that, and then you're able to start answering the question that follows. So, section B, question 2 is just about the extract. So, microplastics can be removed from water. Plastics is everywhere. 306 million tons of plastics is poured each year. Yes, each year. Okay, it's poured each year. Just it does. It doesn't just. Just a moment. Yeah, it doesn't just disappear after we throw it away. Much of it will sit as waste, as what? As waste, and then on our planet for several hundred of years as it breaks down due to decomposition and weathering into small pieces, now called microplastics. Yes, meaning that there are small plastics which are less than 5 millimeters in size. Microplastics are intentionally manufactured and can be found in a range of plastics or of products such as toothpaste, washing powder, and face scrubs, paint, etc. These tiny particles have made a way into every part of ecosystem, that is air, soil, and then into living organisms. Plastics in the soil have made it a way into aquatic environment. Yes, in many of which are source of drinking water through source of drinking water through sewage. Yes, through sewage. We're seeing through what? Sewage. Irresponsible disposal uh, and wind reaching uh, reaching of the soil during heavy rains. Okay. Research has shown how these microplastics remains in the intestines of aquatic animals, which cause premature death, can cause premature death, and in many species or poor growth. In many species or poor growth, an animals become malnourished as the plastic prevent absorption, yes, of nutrients from the food eaten, and they slowly starve to death. Scientists researching the threat of plastic pollution on water of water in humans and have found monomers. Remember, monomers are building blocks of plastics in every human blood sample tested thus far. Okay, many scientists they are concerned about long-term effects of these plastics and the possess disease that may result. Some studies suggest that microplastics have negative impact, including the potential cause of cancer, liver damage, and digestive problems and reproductive harm. Researchers are studying methods of removing these microplastics from water and have found that adding certain chemicals could coagulate. Yes, coagulants can cause the plastic to clump together, making it easier to remove. Other methods include filtering, reverse osmosis, distillation, but all these methods are expensive, meaning that they require a lot of gelate. Right. State the source of microplastics from there. So the extract is asking you to tell us where do we find it in the toothpaste, washing powder, face scrubs, paint, and others. Then they're saying that um and identify two abiotic factors affected by microplastics. We talked about something air, something air. Yes, we talked about, yes, we see soil, air, soil, water. You see, these are abiotic factors, factors which don't have life. Mhm. Identify how does microplastic end up in drinking water. So how do they end up in drinking water? We said here through sewage. We talked about it. You see, end up in drinking water through sewage, irreversible disposal, and wind and leaching of the soil during heavy rains. So those are some of the reasons. You read the passage and then you get the question, the answer from there. So such questions are easy to answer and it does not need you to revise. Why? Because you just read the question and then you get the answer from the what? From the passage they have given you. So we are done with that. They're saying explain why we should consider removing microplastic from drinking water using evidence from an extract. So they're saying that explain why we should. So first of all, they remain in the intestines. We talked about the many scientists consider that okay, long-term effect of plastics may result in some said okay, they said it, including um, cancer and liver damage and yes, there's a way where they talked about mm, check yes. They're saying that some studies suggest that microplastics have a negative impact, including potential cause of cancer, liver damage, positive. Yes, you see that they can affect. So many scientists are concerned about the long-term effects. You understand? Yes, because plastics are and the possible diseases might result. Yes, because we don't know it, them too much, but they might result. Some studies also suggest that microplastics have negative impact, including the potential cause of cancer. Yes, potential what? Cause of what? Cancer. We see it here. That cancer, liver damage, digestive problems. So all these are some of the reasons which can cause, which can make these plastics to be negative in the negatively impacting the life of the organisms. Then they provide a reason why microplastics are not be able to remove from drink, why microplastics may not be removed from drinking water. So what do you think? It may not be able to be removed. We say that it's this thing to remove them, these methods, all of them, if we are to remove, they are very expensive. So the methods which can be used are expensive. Then they are saying that according to the passage, hmm, um, one method to remove microplastic was researched. That was researched was using chemical called coagulants. Yeah, the one which makes the things to do what? To become a solid. Give two planning steps to be there. When we talk about planning steps, yes, basically before you do this, you decide which how much sample you're gonna do. So decide, you have to decide. Ne? Don't say choose, say decide. You decide, yeah, because you have to decide. After deciding, you choose. Because when you are choosing, you are specifically doing the experiment because you are choosing now. Let me choose this instead of this. So you decide which sample size are you going to use, which vein are you going to use, which type of coagulant or which coagulant are you going to use, which apparatus are you going to use. All this decide. We must see the word decide. Yes, yes. You can also ask for permission. Yes. So you have to decide. Whenever you're talking about this planning stage, it's better to add the word decide. Write the hypothesis of this investigation. So if you look at this, write the hypothesis for this investigation. So here I can say that if coagulant is added to water, yes, what's going to happen? If coagulant is added to water with the microplastics, the microplastics will clamp together because they said it here that it helps to clamp it together. The microplastics, the coagulants, they help to clamp the what the these microplastics together. So uh since I'm talking about removing these microplastics, and I have now, what is the hypothesis? I have that in mind that when I add if the coagulant is added to water with the microplastics, the coagulants, so the microplastics will clamp together, meaning that it will be brought together so that you are able to pick it easily. You remove it easily from where it is. Specifically here, we are looking at water. Then they're saying that questions C, they're saying that how would the scientists improve the reliability of this investigation? How would you see whenever they talk about wood, whenever they talk about improving the reliability of the investigation, guys, always you must always know the language they have used. If they say would, could, what did they like? If it's past tense, present tense, whatever tense they have used, your answer must be answered based on that tense they have asked you. So that now here is you can say that repeat the investigation several times. So here you are repeating the investigation several times, increase the sample size, and then select the test, select or test the samples. Is supposed to be done randomly. So you're supposed to do it what? Randomly. So basically, that's what you're supposed to answer when it comes to that question. Then question 2.2, that the table below illustrates the relationship between different biomes and then indicate the mass of a single organism. Study the table below and answer the question that follows. So, now here they're saying that state whether the data represented is biotic or abiotic in the ecosystem. So you have to look at, is it biotic or it is abiotic in the ecosystem? So you are looking at, they are talking about woods, talking about mopane worms, so lizards, you see monkeys. So it basically it is biotic factors. Why? Because biotic factor, because it has life. It is dealing with what? With life. So if it was sun temperature, what it would have been abiotic. The organism that is producer in the forest chain. So which organism is the producer in the forest chain? So we see that this is the forest chain. We see the trees, beetles, lizards, and then monkeys. So it becomes yellow wood trees. Those are the producers in the forest. What? So that's why you get it here. Which organism is a secondary consumer in the desert food chain? In the desert food chain. Desert, you have to look for the desert. The desert, they are saying desert. What question did they ask? Secondary. Meaning that you're supposed to be a secondary consumer. Meaning that you're supposed to be a carnivore. Yes. So this the tree, which is what? It's a tree which is what can I say? It's a tree which is a producer. Producer, yes. And then this one becomes the primary consumer. Then this one becomes the secondary consumer. So basically, here what we are looking for is we are looking at this. Yeah, these monkeys. Then they are saying that the next question they're asking you is which food chain has a higher population of these monkeys? Use the data in the table 1 and 2 and then answer your question. Give a reason why there is a difference in what? In a population. So basically, they're saying that which food chain has a higher population. Okay, now we have to come back here. Here we see that it is these ones. Yeah, because these ones are more than these ones. So what are they saying? So now it means that the answer is the one for the forest food chain. They are saying that give a reason for your answer. So you see that here is too much, here is too. So here you can say maybe any answer you give as long as it is linked to that. Maybe the lizards in the forest chain have provided more food. Yes, these ones, they have provided more food for them to what? To survive. Yes, more food. So that each lizard can grow to a greater mass than the what? Than these worms. So meaning that here, there is in this chain, there is enough food. That's why you see that now these ones can grow more. Remember, the reason why we really produce and you don't get worried because before you produce, ask yourself, what am I going to feed them? The life is too expensive. Yes. So you start to think about feeding, dressing the kid and stuff. Like for that reason, you said, I am not going to what to produce too many kids. But now, if the food is there, the everything is there, like you can provide to your family. There will be no worry for you to have 4, 5 kids. You understand? Than someone who is struggling too much and said that because the food is not there, I'm not going to produce many kids. Let me just produce what? One kid. So because now the food is present in this regard, that's why in this area, yes, forest. That's why now that these monkeys here, they do what? They reproduce in large numbers and then the numbers increase. Hence, their numbers are more than this one because of the availability of food in that trophic level. So, question 2.25, use the desert chain, draw the full labeled pyramid of what? Pyramid of number. They are saying desert. Let me first clear it up and then I'm able to pyramid of number, desert. Where is desert? So in this case, you draw depending on how many individuals are there. And then what do? You start with the producers. It's supposed to be on the lower level. For example, you have one tree, therefore you draw one tree, yes, and then now you have 200 mopane worms, meaning that 200 mopane worms. Let me just clear it up here. Let me use one tree, okay, and then now 200 mopane worms. So I'm gonna make 200 worms. You must draw it properly, ne? Yes, and then you have one, four of these monkeys. Yes, for these monkeys plus 7, plus 3, which makes them 7. Meaning that the mopane worms is gonna be around there. And then you have leopard, one leopard, meaning that it's going to be the same size in terms of numbers like that. Then now you label it as this is the producers, this is the primary consumers, this is the secondary consumers, and then these are tertiary consumers. Basically, this is the leopard, and then this is the monkeys, and then this is the mopane ones, and then this is the tree, the bow, the bob. Yes. So, and then here you put pyramid of number so that you're able to get a mark for the title. Something like that. Then you'll be able to get the marks. Then they're saying that give the, so we're done with the 2.5, 2.6. Mopane worms contains 124 kilojoules of energy. The worm used 90% of this energy. They consumed only 10%. Okay. Of this energy. Okay. How much energy was transferred to next trophic level? Remember, it's 10%. 10% is 10 out of 100. They're saying that number one contains 120. They say the worms use 90 of the energy and they consumed, and only 10% is what? Okay, meaning that how much energy transferred to, meaning that it's only 10% of this 120. So it's times 124. So the answer becomes 12,4. Because if I go with that, we go with that, this 0 goes one step back. So basically, it's gonna be 12 calories. Yes, so that is how you're supposed. I always tell you that you can't go to the question of grade 10 without that question. They're saying that give two possible possibilities that could happen to a food chain. If the yellow tree die out because of the drought, yellow. Where is the yellow? Oh, it's this one. then what will happen to this? If this is out, then automatically these ones are going to die first. And if they don't die, they don't migrate or die fast, then what will happen? Ah. So basically, we can say that beetles will no longer have what to feed on. They will no longer have what to feed on, meaning that there will be no source of food. Therefore, uh, they might die. They might die because of no food, or they might migrate to another area. Yes. Maybe they can migrate. Remember, as you die, you don't just die because the food, the tree is gone, you are just there. You you might die as you're searching for that food. Yes. So they might migrate and then they find another food. Or if they don't find out, then it means that they are going to what? To die, all of them. Then we go to the next question. They are saying that Next question, they are saying that, oh, this one is done. So we go to question 2.3. All right. So here is the cycle. You're saying identify the gas represented by X. So it is X. So we see that X is the carbon dioxide. We see that X comes down, it's being absorbed by the plant. Therefore, it shows that X is carbon dioxide. They are saying that write down the letter of process A, B, C, D, E, which represents respiration. So which process represents respiration? So we see that this one produces the gas that is carbon dioxide. Understand? And then also this one produces a gas, carbon dioxide. Also fungi produce a gas, carbon dioxide, and then it goes back to the atmosphere. Meaning that this process C, is the one which is respiration, because uh, the respiration is the only process which produce carbon dioxide in a living cell. Right. So we are saying that the next question is saying that decomposition. Decomposition, the dead organic matter is supposed to, yes. See, now we have remains of dead organic plants, of the remains of plants and animals. So which process is this? So this is bacteria. So basically this is the decomposition. Yes, so process D is the answer. Then they're saying that name the one other way in which a nutrient X is released in atmosphere. Nutrient X, okay, carbon dioxide. They can go through burning, combustion, combustion. Yes, we call it combustion. We call it combustion. So it is combustion. And then they're saying that which process is responsible for extracting nutrient X from the atmosphere. So how do we get this carbon dioxide from the atmosphere? So we say that we get carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Then they are saying that process E involves the decomposition of organic matter into nutrient. Why? Decomposition of by the bacteria. Ne? So the key point here is bacteria into compound Y, meaning that is supposed to be related to nitrogen, because only nitrogen were okay by the bacteria into Y. Identify the bacteria responsible for E. So which bacteria? So here you're saying that produced by the bacteria. So here we can say that nitrifying bacteria. You can look at any example of fixing this compound Y, which is nitrogen. Yes. So we can talk about basically is nitrates. You can talk about nitrifying bacteria. Yes, so those are nitrifying bacteria. Then they are saying that name one other way in which Y can be naturally added to the soil. How do we add the nitrogen? Through nitrogen fixing bacteria. You can talk about lightning, lightning, striking of the light from the sky. Remember that lightning has a high voltage. Yes, a high voltage. So through that, as strikes the soil, then nitrogen is being what? It's being fixed into the what? Into the soil. Then you're saying that draw a flow diagram to show the decomposition of or decomposing organic matter into the nitrate. Into what? Into nitrates. So because these are nitrates, as I say that nitrates, so it means that I'm gonna start from there. So I can say that when it decomposes, it forms into ammonia, and then it goes into, so basically this is what I'm trying to say, into ammonia, into nitrites, and then it goes to nitrates. So this is what I'm trying to say from our distinction material book. Past it. Into nitrate. Yes, here. So that's what they're asking you. This is that the nitrogen fixing bacteria. What happens? So it converts into ammonia, and then it goes into nitrites, then it goes into nitrates, and then the nitrates are being, so this is the molecule Y. The nitrates are the molecule what? The molecule Y. So it means that it's ammonia. So I write there ammonia into nitrite into nitrate. Yes. So basically, that's what we are looking for in that regard. Then they're saying that 2.4 is about the classification of these organisms. Use a dichotomous key, then that is the naming system of the organisms. So you need to classify the salamander as being found. So we see that salamander, um, salamander. So we see it's salamander, large, irregular, white, black, white, spots on the black background extending from the head to from the head. You see, extending from the head to the tail. To the tail. So here the key point, what I want is, remember I have that genus name is supposed to start with a capital letter. Supposed to be capital letter. And then this one, the second name, which is the species name, is a small letter. And then you underline. That's how you're supposed to write it. Yes, they're saying that. Name the kingdom to which salamander belongs. We go back. Since salamander is an animal, so it belongs to kingdom Animalia. Yes, Animalia. So here it's salamander. So it's kingdom Animalia. How many different genera of amphibians? Remember, amphi means two. Bians, yes. Meaning that is able to live in two lives. That is the water and then the land. So how many different genera do salamander have? Remember, genera is the genus, is the first name. So it's one, it's two, it's three, this one and this is the same, and then it's four. So basically there are four genera which are being represented. Hmm. Provide a Latin name for classification of this organism. Yes, provide. Yes, Latin name. So we see here that they're saying that provide the reason why Latin names are being used as classification. So basically we do that because of Latins are universal languages. Actually, we do that so that we avoid confusion. Yes, yes. Why? Because some organisms may have the same name with different meaning. So basically, we use Latin names to avoid confusion, or we use Latin names because Latin names they don't change. Yes, they remain unchanged. Okay. Provider, okay. They're saying that who discovered number one, the binomial naming system, that is Linnaeus. And then who discovered the five kingdom? The five kingdom was discovered by Cook. Yes, we know it from our distinction material book that we talked about those things, and I emphasized them before you go. So this is the five kingdom system, huh? And then that's what the answer they want. And then the Arrhenius is here. Yes, he's the one who talked about the taxonomy or the classification. Yes, the binomial. Discuss why was it necessary to develop the five kingdom of classification. So basically, the five kingdom of classification was discovered because of number one, because of the information increasing in classification changes. Yeah, as the information about itself, so yes, also remember it was two before. So we had to go for five, meaning that also the technological development, there will be there was an improvement in the microscope, the technology started to increase. There was the renaissance, birth of knowledge. Yes, in the scientific field, and then the knowledge exploded, meaning that it was too much in such a way that now the knowledge which was discovered, use of these gadgets, it helped us to know even the organisms which don't belong plants and don't belong to animals, like the microorganisms which we didn't know before. You see, so because of the availability of knowledge, then the five kingdom classification was brought into existence, which shows that these organisms are not the same; they are totally different from one another. So that is it. We go to the last question, that is the question number 3. Question number 3, what are they looking at? They're looking at provide a reason why scientists use geological timescale. We say that scientists use geological timescale because they provide a reason why scientists use geological timescale. They use the geological time scale to divide the Earth's history into manageable time frames. Yes, into manageable time frames. Question number 2, from the geological time scale, identify the life from form that dominated the Precambrian eon. The Precambrian eon. So they are looking at the life form. If you look at the eon here, the eon is here, the ion is here, so they are looking for the Precambrian ion. So basically they were bacteria. Yes. I even explained it in our prediction 2 weeks before the paper. Yes. Yes, I said that Precambrian is here. You see that there are bacteria is there. If you look at that, it started from there. Then we go to the next question. They're saying that um, identify one life form that dominates Precambrian eon. Which era did humans first appear? which era do we find humans? So it means that where are the humans? So in the era is the Cenozoic era. So it shows it appeared in the Cenozoic era. Then they are saying that what unit is used, what unit is used to measure the eon. We measure it in million years. Maya, in million years. Yes, million years. They are saying that 3.13. I started the era, Mesozoic era. When did the Triassic period began? So Triassic period is here. When did it start? It started. Oh no, sorry, so not Triassic. This is Jurassic. They're saying that Triassic period. Triassic, where is the period? Okay, they're saying it's here. So this period started here, meaning that it began 215 million years ago. Maya, yes. Then they are saying that the next question, what was the dominant species during Mesozoic era? So in Mesozoic era, the dominant species were the dinosaurs. You see them, they were what? The dinosaurs. Another question. Another question. What was the significance about the mass extinction A? What was the significant? What was the significant about mass extinction A? Mm, Mass extinction A. Oh, they are talking about mass extinctions. Yeah, what happened? What happened there? In this case, we see that we lost 90% of all living species. Most of them they became extinct. Yes, so we lost 90% of all living species got extinct. Yes, if you go back to the five mass extinctions. Then they're saying that the Cambrian period showed a drastic change that took place in the life form present on the Earth. Name the event that took place and give the possible explanation that scientists believe responsible for change in the life forms. So, in this case, what are you supposed to look at? The Cambrian period, and okay, so is the Cambrian period. We look at the period, and then we look at the Cambrian period. Cambrian here. Where is it? Is here. So basically, it took place many million years ago. So it took place where there are many different kinds of organisms. Many different kind of organisms, yes, were able to form. So it's basically many organisms. If we go back to this, to our, yes, you see that most of them, they started in the Cambrian period. You see that most of the organisms, they started here. Yes. So remember, yes, they started in this period, which is under the Parazoic era. So most of them in the Cambrian period, organisms were formed or they appeared, meaning that there was a large the faster diversification, or like diversing organisms, they became many different categories. But why? What made it to be like that is because of the due to the increase in the oxygen levels. Now, the moment the plants were produced or developed, then automatically oxygen was produced. Now, many organisms which depend on oxygen, they had to start coming out, meaning that the photosynthetic bacteria, that is, like those bacteria which can produce oxygen, then they were produced, and then what happened? Oxygen was made available. Plants also came in. Oxygen was made available, and then because of the enough oxygen, therefore there was an explosion of growth of different organisms at that time. So yeah, question 2.3. 2.3. Oh, I still have a lot of questions to finish. Right. I'm saying that identify A, B, C, and D. Shown what is flood water depositing layers of sediment on decomposing bodies. How do we? Which one is that? Where do we find that? Whereby you have the flood waters depositing layers of sediments on the decomposing bodies, meaning that they are being buried. They are being what? They are being buried. So we see that the flood water is here, so is depositing this. Uh-huh. Um, so and if you look at the saying that flood layers, not layers, there are so many layers which are being formed. And also this also look also here. So basically here and here. Yes, either way. They're saying that the soil that has eroded, exposing the fossilized the triceratops. Yes. So what is this? We'll see that they're saying that. Let me read again. Soil that has eroded, meaning that we will see it when it is exposed. So it's being exposed here. Therefore, the answer becomes B in that regard. They describe the process that took place during fossilization in A using the triceratop as an example in your description. So here, you need to explain it, uh, the layers, the process which took place, which took place, and then you are able to get the marks. You're supposed to explain it in in order. So they're saying that basically the process that took place during the fossilization in diagram A using the trace as an example. So we come here on diagram A, and then you can say that layers of sediment accumulate and then are compressed over bonds of triceratops. Yes, maybe like that. Layers of the segments accumulate and are compressed basically over the bonds, these bonds, yes, of the triceratops. And then what happens? Making them hard to form a sediment what? To form a sediment rock. So basically it looks to be the same way how mineralization happens due to the pressure, the compression, and then the minerals are being absorbed into the what? Into the what? Into the body. So making them a little bit much more what? Much more harder. Then they are saying that give the name and the type, give the name of the type of soil that the ammonites decomposed, resulting in mineral entering the cavity, leaving the positive image of of the organism. So how do we call that? We call it a cast. So we call this one a what? A cast. They are saying that what other substance can organism be trapped into trapped in and preserved. So which other organisms which other things can we find this? So we can find it in the amber, in the ice, which we call the glacier. We can find it in the tar, the dirty fluid which comes from the plants. Sometimes it's yellowish, not yellowish, whitish. Yes. So when it solidifies, then they're saying that uh, 3.2.5, they're saying that name the age of the ammonite fossil that is known the age of the ammonite fossil is known to have known and has been calculated in living during the Mesozoic era between 200 and 66 million years ago. The age of the triceratop fossil is not known. They're saying that the bone tissue of the Triceratops fossil cannot be used to test and measure the radioactive decay. Okay, name the method scientists would have used to date the Triceratops. If they are staying in the same layers of the soil, yes, and I know the other one. Therefore, I will have to relate that since they stayed in the same area, therefore they existed at the same time. So I will say that I will call it relative. You relate what you have obtained. Relatively, this is your age. If you someone ask someone, think how many how old I am. You look at the person and you relatively give an estimation. If you see a gogo, you can't say that you're 20 years. No, because you see that people in that regime of 20 years, they don't look like that. So since they are in the same area, they were discovered in the same layers of soil. Therefore, I will use what called relative. So I'll relatively give it an age based on the layer of soil I've discovered it. Because I'm dating it, therefore it becomes relative dating. They're saying that discuss how the scientists would have determined the age of the Triceratops fossil. So basically, I've tried to explain it. I'll look at the ammonite. Yes, are found in the same area, same layer of soil as Triceratops. Therefore, they must have been living together at the same time. Yes, so Triceratops is between 201 to 66 million years ago. So basically, therefore, it means that uh, if they're saying that um, if the ammonite it lived between 201 million years ago and the 66 million years ago, definitely it's the same age as the triceratops. If they are found at the same layer, and that layer is that, and all of them they were in the same age or area, same layer of the soil. Therefore, even triceratops will have the same range. Why? Because it is found in the same what? Same layer of what? Of soil. Yes. Then we go to the last question, the second last question. Yes, the second last question. They're saying that um, an investigation was conducted to determine the composition of compounds in human body. The sample is from 150 males. Participants were taken and analyzed 3 times using the this spectrum. The average of the okay. Each compound was calculated. The table below shows the results of investigation. Started the table. Okay, saying identify which one is the they're looking for independent variable. So if you're talking about the independent variable, we look at investigation was conducted to the composition of compounds in human body. Okay, they're saying what is the independent variable? So the composition will depend on the human body. So meaning that here the human body is going to be the independent. And then the composition, composition, composition of compounds, yes, will uh, 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 depend on which type of human body is present. Give two ways in which validity of the investigation is ensured. We use the same participants, same male participants, and use the same technique of collecting data. That is NIR, NIR spectrometer. They said it here, NIR spectrometer. Yes, we must use the same NIR spectrometer. They're saying that state how scientists ensured, meaning that they ensured it. Yes. How did they ensure it? What did they say? They said they used 150 male participants. Yes. They repeated the experiment. Yes, they repeated the experiment. Uh-huh. And then, is there anything else? They did calculate the average of the compounds. Yes, they did calculate the average of compounds, and then that results was obtained. Which compound make up the most of the human body that is inorganic? That is inorganic. So here we see that water is, because water is inorganic, so it is 75%. Therefore, the answer here becomes water. And then we come back here in organic because we have this, and this. These are organics. So it is 18%, which is protein. So here I will say that protein. Then they are saying that calculate, calculate. They're saying that they draw a pie chart to show the percentage composition of each. So yeah, let me first clear it up, and then we see what you can. Remember, guys, that this is percentage. If you add it, it must give you 100. And I said that you cannot plot this on the on in terms of percentage. Yes, we have to first convert it into degrees. So 75%, it's gonna be 75 out of 100 times 360. Then this one's gonna be 1 out of 100 times 360. Then this one's gonna be 18 out of 100 times 360. Then this one's gonna be 5 out of 100 times 360. It's gonna be 1 out of 100 times 360. So you get the answers in degrees, not in percentage. It is in the what? It is in degrees. After that, you get the answers, and then you draw a pie chart, you give a title. Make sure that you use a circle. Don't just use free hands. Some people are drawing something like this. Use a protractor. You're supposed to use a what? A protractor. You cannot go to a life science exam without a protractor, without a full set, because you don't know which one they are going to bring. All right. We go to the food test. They're saying that state which test was used to indicate as presence of protein. So if you look at which state, which test was used to indicate, which test, which test, which test. Let me see what did they want to say. So test. Okay. Proteins is being used by using Buretti's what? Reagent. They must say which reagent. Which reagent. Hmm. Which what? Which reagent. Which reagent. So it's Buretti's test. Buretti's Omidon's reagent. Then they are saying that what color would reagent change when the proteins are present? So basically, it changes into purple or violet. Name the one other factor that need to be controlled during the investigation. So the test tube, the size of test tube, the amount of the reagents, yeah, there are a lot which you can talk about. The test tube must be kept in warm water for the same times. The things you're supposed to do the same. Saying that which substance was used as control experiment as control? Which substance? Oh, 3.44. The interpret the results at A. Results at A. Yeah, it shows that it's a negative. This starch is negative because of iodine. Protein is negative, and then ethanol is also negative, which means that is no lipids here. So it's only what is here is glucose. So it means that the test tube A, it had glucose. Glucose was present, meaning that it is positive. The positive, it is glucose which was present. Then we go to the next question. They're saying that which substance was found was used as a control experiment? Yes, substance, it shows that all of them are negative. All of them are negative, so it means that it's substance C. Which substance basically, yes, is that? How would you conclude that substance uh, is- contains glucose? Yeah, it turns the Benedict solution from blue to green to yellow to orange and then red. Yes, blue to yellow to orange and then to what? To red. Ah, then we go to the next question. State one precaution that must be kept when conducting the test of for glucose. State one precaution you should do. So yeah, we have a lot. Remember, you are boiling it. Therefore, you put on a mask. Don't you can separate use separate apparatus, spoons to avoid cross contamination. You can talk about use test tubes that or with the test tube holders. So you can talk about anything which can make you to be safe in the experiment. 3.5, they're saying that what is enzymes? So basically enzymes are proteins that are biological catalysts or biological catalysts that are protein in nature that involve in the speeding up the chemical reaction. Protein, biological catalyst, protein, they are proteins. That's why we set them under proteins. Biological catalysts that are proteins, they're able to, they are very important in speeding up the rate of chemical reaction. They are saying that what will the enzyme A identify the factor that is being, that affect the activity of each enzyme according to the graph. So here we see that it is TH. Then they are saying that when will enzyme A function at its optimum rate, reaction rate? A, we see that uh, it is 3, pH 3, yes. Then they're saying that what happened when enzyme B, what will happen to enzyme B when the pH drops to 6, enzyme B? If it drops to 6, basically it means that the enzyme will be denatured and will no longer function properly. Yes, or there will be no, there will be some bit of function, but because unless it is around the 4, but below 6, it can be no longer functioning. If it's still here, later functioning, meaning that it will, why? Because it will be denatured. Yes. Then they're saying that when the enzyme A, name two other functions of enzymes. There are a lot, building blocks, the building materials of the cell, act as hormones, act as enzymes in metabolic reactions. You can talk about they are responsible for growth, help in repair and making new cells. There is a lot. So guys, if we look at this paper, I see that we had 90% correct in the prediction. Yeah, our predictions in most cases we release them 2, 3 weeks before even the paper is being what is being set. So it means that our prediction is very good. Thank you so much for connecting yourself on our channels. Don't forget to subscribe and like so that you don't miss out for the next what for next videos. Don't forget to share to others so that they also benefit from this channel. It has been M. Saidi. Thank you so much. Welcome back to our class. Today we'll be talking about the memorandum or memo discussion for life science June examination. Don't forget that there are some different districts, they do different sample papers. So we just chose one of the districts and then we're just doing the memorandum for that. However, those districts which have the same paper, meaning that is similar scope, you'll find similar questions in your exam. So the first question, which one of the following, which organic compound is important for the growth and maintaining of health body? So we are looking for something which makes there is proper growth and maintaining a body which is healthy. So we call that vitamins or vitamins. So we have that. We get 2 marks there. What is nucleic acid? Nucleic acid, we are talking about DNA and RNA. Yeah, so those are the nucleic acids. So you're saying that which is not, the question is not a function of wetland, meaning that the rest are functions. If you look at them, all of them are functions except one. Wetlands provides habitat and breeding grounds. Yes, we know that is correct. During drought, wetlands keep rivers and streams flowing, correct? Wetlands are source of nitrates. No. And then wetlands filter and clean water. Yes, this is also correct. So the most correct answer here is C, because they're saying it's not. So you get 2 marks there. Saying that carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor are gases in which part of the biosphere? They're saying that carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor are gases found in which part of the biosphere? In which part of the biosphere? So we are looking at, we said carbon dioxide. So it's a gas. So the answer is atmosphere because they're looking at gas, which means at atmosphere. So lithosphere, hydrosphere, geosphere. So here it is, they're looking at air, which means what? Atmosphere, because carbon dioxide is air, oxygen is air, nitrogen is air, is a gas, and then vapor is also gas. So the most correct answer there is A. Use the image below and answer the question this to that. Okay. Which biotic factor is illustrated in the diagram above? This is the sun. Since it is the